Here, live chat. Guys, I'm gonna give it about 5 minutes and then I'm gonna talk. Y'all know me, I'm just gonna talk. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Come in, like, give it a thumbs up, share it out. It'll help somebody. We'll talk about it. Okay, I don't know what she's doing. Is she doing an ad? She must be doing some sort of an ad. Okay, I guess she's doing an ad. I'll find out what she's doing. I watched this van life chick, and she started out living in a Prius, and then she moved from her Prius to, well, she tried a couple other things, and she moved in. So I've been watching her. So she's on my YouTube on the TV right now, and I think her name is Nikki Noventhal, Delventhal, and she's kind of quirky, but I like watching her, so I watch her. We're gonna talk in a minute. I'm a little tired, so we'll chat. I am sleepy, and but I'm gonna go do laundry. I got up extra early this morning though, so we'll talk in a few minutes. We will talk in a few minutes. It's getting cool in here too. It's getting cool, so we'll chat here in a bit. Again, I'm gonna give it about 5 minutes. Let everybody come in, and we'll chat. Let's see what's going on. I'm a little tired. We'll talk about some stuff here in a minute. Most people are probably doing their Black Friday or getting over, but I'm just going to get a video up. It's easier to do the lives because it automatically uploads it. I ain't got to do anything. It just uploads and I talk and then call it a day. I might do one this weekend. I haven't decided. Tomorrow, I'm doing my 2 Black Friday things. I actually, Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going over to a little mall off of 75th Avenue and McDowell. They've got a Apple computer on sale, so I'm gonna probably go pick it up if I can get it. I gotta get there first thing in the morning, so, and I don't know how many they have in stock, but it's the cheapest I found it. So we're getting that, and then the next day they have a Asus gaming laptop. Excuse me, I'm trying to get both of those. Y'all, I just burped all on the thing. I'm extremely tired. Y'all see the hat? It's an old hat, and he got an eyeball under there. His eyeball. He got an eyeball under there. But I'm gonna go to laundromat here in a little bit. Laundry was dead, so this is the perfect day to go. And I'm gonna go do that. We'll give it about 1 or 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and then I'm gonna get on up and do what I gotta do. I was up. How did I wake up this morning? Well, I woke up a couple of times. I had to go to the bathroom, so I woke up about 6, 7 this morning, and then I got to decide what I'm gonna do for dinner. I found a Thai restaurant over here. You know, I don't know why I always come on here and be ashy as heck on my lips. I found a Thai restaurant over here. This morning, my breakfast was Indian fried bread. And then yesterday, I went out with my surrogate crew, play niece Vicky, play nephew Josh, and play sis Vivian. Vivian's like, "You cooking?" I'm like, "I have no plans on cooking." So we went over to my mother's, and they opened up. They were doing Thanksgiving dinners that you could eat in there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the guy said, he said, "I'd get here 6 minutes early." He says, "Because if you get here, we can't promise you any seating." And we got there. We got there like 15 minutes early, and they were already people were taking dinners out the door, and they're picking up their catering orders. So everybody did something different, which I was shocked. I wanted traditional, but I like their turkey at this place, so I got their turkey and dressing. And I did the green beans again because the green beans you got to get them at the right time. If they've had a chance to stew and sit, the seasoning is on hit. If they just made them, the seasoning ain't set in them yet. So I think they must have cooked a whole bunch the night before because the green beans was on hit because Vivian takes my green beans. She's like, I said, right. I said, now I brought some other folks here and the green beans were not that great. I said, but the green beans are normally good. I said, but the green beans don't hit. And then the dressing, she's like, the dressing is good too. I said, yeah, I like the turkey dinner. The turkey dinner, they have them year round, but it was good. So, but she did the chicken fried chicken. Her son did a hamburger and fries. I'm like, Josh, bro, it's Thanksgiving. He just did a hamburger and fries. And they had ribs and chicken, but he didn't do that. And then Vicky, she's a vegetarian, but she will do fish. So she did fried cod and everything. And the potatoes are homemade potatoes, fresh mash. It ain't the instant stuff. I got instant potatoes because it's a lazy thing, but I prefer, if I do potatoes, I prefer mashed potatoes. All right, we 5 minutes in, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this and just if people roll in, they do. If they don't, they'll watch it later. So I want to talk about something, and it kind of stems from my prior video and prior videos. So sometimes what I recognize, and this stems from a meeting. So I got some news I'm going to announce here in a couple of weeks, but I was in a meeting. And in the meeting, we have some people that are conducting the meeting. And both of the conductors of the meetings have told who they are. They basically have, this is who I am, introduced themselves, blah, 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 blah. So they told personally who they are, this is who I am. One of the particular instructors, both are men, he reminds me very much of my biological father, Grumpy. But what I appreciate about him is that he knows who he is, okay? So I'm going to say this. I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not, okay? Which is what I titled this. And as I sat and listened to him, I told him, he reminded me of my biological father. He was very much, this man is very, what he has described where he may not put it in the context of the wording. He's a narcissist. But I appreciate it because you told us what you are. He like, I don't like dealing with people. You don't just show up at my house. I don't go deal with my family. This is man. This is man. That's what this the head, one of the heads of the meeting. I don't deal with my family. If I date a woman, we got a year and then I don't want to see you no more. I don't. Basically, he one of them people. He very cut and dry. This is who I am. I like to be alone. I don't like people at my house. I don't like socializing. I think most people have kids to feed their ego. He done basically told you who he is. He done told you who he is. Okay? What is amazing to me is the people who are attracted to that, but then are upset because that person is not what you want them to be. It's amazing to me. It's absolutely astonishing. So this individual's in one state, so he's in a whole other state. The two heads, we're doing this through a interactive meeting, like what they call a Zoom meeting, and he's in an entirely different state. Both of the two heads of our meeting, and one of the girls who's part of our meeting, I'm gonna say girl, but she's a grown adult female, probably a little older than me or right in the age range. She has in her own roundabout way. I think she let him know she was kind of interested. Then she tried to play it off that another person that's affiliated to this particular entity in which we're a part of, that she knows who's part of this group, that she wants to introduce him to her. Okay, some relative of hers. No, that's not what it is. You're interested. As we're having our meetings on a daily basis, on this past, what was that, Wednesday, she went to ask a question. And he didn't respond or interact with her as she wanted. So she basically called him a name. And it wasn't good. Because you want people to be something they're not. And the problem I have is that they've told you who they are. I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not. I'm not going to be what you want me to be. I am going to be who I am. And the only person that can transition and change me is God. I can work in conjunction with him to change, but that's the only person who can change people. Another person can't really change you. You're going to have to work in conjunction with God to get changed. Because most of us are ingrained in things. And a lot of it stems from, it could be rearing, it could be environment, it could be a whole plethora of things that have impacted you becoming you. But oftentimes the you become is because of things from your childhood. So in this meeting, I actually team up with another gentleman who I later find out his degrees were in behavioral science. He has his bachelor's and master's in behavioral science. And excuse me. Anyway, so he was like, "Oh, old boy lied." I said, "He didn't lie." Well, no, he lied. No, he didn't lie. He told you exactly who he was in the very beginning. That man did not lie, because we hear also what we want to hear, and we don't listen to what somebody told us. This man was very clear about who he was. I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not. It's amazing to me, and I still try to wrap my head around it. When I meet people who want other people to be something they're not, I've just learned to accept I'm going to deal with you or I'm not. There used to be a song back when I was a kid. Some of y'all know this. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. It was kind of a hip hop song. I don't know who did it. Facts. You can deal with this or you can deal with that. We don't have to deal at all. I am what I am and I'm not what I'm not. Oftentimes, let me put my chat on, guys. Sorry. Oftentimes, folks want to sit and want to force people, especially in relationships. That's what's really mind blowing to me, is that you people, and I guess we've all done it, and I think at a younger point, but when you start getting older, you need to start walking in a different level of wisdom. Why you want to continue dealing with foolishness, I don't know. It's like I didn't understand any of the females that dealt with my father. But as I understand the dynamics of the women he drew, a lot of them were lonely. A lot of them were obese. Therefore, some of them had low self esteem. He went for a certain type of woman because he knew that's what he could get. And he knew that was who he could manipulate. He point blank, period. This gentleman has told you, I don't like this, I don't like that. This is how I am when it comes to women. Boom. He done told you who he is. He told you who he is. Yet you trying to hook up and then you mad because they're not responding to you the way you want them to respond. He is what he said he is, and he's not what he said he was not. And I sit and I sometimes sit in astonishment. Even people in families. It's like I talked about one of my buddies. He gives me peace. I get peace when we go out. If we hang out, and as long as we don't actually bring up his family because I can't deal with it. I don't deal with my own family, so I don't want to hear about yours. And I don't mean to be mean. That's I am what I am. I'm not what I'm not. I don't do with the drama in my own family. I dang sure don't want to hear about your drama in your family. Zero. And I would tell people, man, I don't want to know. As soon as I say I want to know, that conversation is done. Because for me, dealing with craziness in family is foolishness, and I just can't. I can't do it anymore. That's one of the reasons why I text this, why I had this unctioning, but also I did start distancing from Grumpy a little bit. When he passed, a lot of the cousins and stuff, well, we asked because he sounded like he was depressed. Did he call you? Why would he call me? Because narcissists need you to feel they narcissism. They want it to be all about them. That's what this man basically told us. It's all about him. It's his way. So you know who you're dealing with. There was a woman at Grumpy's church who liked him. And she would come over and she was basically putting I'm going to say her drawers on the table. If he wanted it, he could have had it. If he could do anything with it, he couldn't anymore. And she's deceased now. And I had talked with this lady on the side. She gave me a ride somewhere when I was in Lubbock. And I said, I'm going to be real with you. He is my biological father, but this ain't somebody you want to get with. And I laid it out. And basically, she didn't care about any of that. She just probably didn't even know why she was attracted. But I'm willing to deal with crazy. And there's people who are willing to deal with crazy. I don't know, not a message that popped up. So, guys, know who you are. Know your value. Know your worth. I hate using self a lot because I don't want to use self in the context of not having God in the mix. But God has developed you and designed you and spoke you into being. Check in with him and find out who you are. Once you know who you are, you'll know what you're not willing to deal with. There's a lot of people in our world today, and I did it in my younger days. Whether it's loneliness, depression, you're in relationships, I was just figuring out who I was. I was all in another lifestyle. And I dealt with some crazy chicks. And they pulled another side of me out that you don't really ever want to meet. I found out a lot about who I am. But by the time you're in your 50s, you should really know who you are. And this lady is probably older than me. And you should also know who other people are. Last week I talked about one of the people who knows me from here, and there's no shade, I'm just real. I'm just a person that if you tell me about a whole bunch of family drama, I'm gonna nip that in the bud quick, and I'm gonna tell you why are you doing this, that, and the other thing. Because you're coming to someone who doesn't tolerate a lot of craziness in conjunction to people, family or friends. I, I got certain things that one of my good friends, I basically told him, I don't want to know about your family. Zero. Because it's mad drama. Matter of fact, I didn't realize another girl who used to work with us, she's no longer here. She's moved and she's retired. She warned me as I was hanging out when we first started really hanging out all together. And she said, he has a lot of family drama. And she kind of, I could tell, disassociated herself in general. We're friendly and was cordial, but it was so overwhelming and I didn't know. So she knew probably more than I did coming in. But later on, as I have interacted with him, it is a lot of family drama. So I don't, we're friends. We're friends. I don't want to know about this. I don't want to know about that. If that's an issue for you, then you can go your way. I can go mine. I don't deal with that. So I don't really want to hear about yours. I don't mean to be mean. That's just who I am. I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not. So I've learned over time that that is my level of peace. Some people, they like being in drama. It's sex. My biological mother was the same way. It was sex for them. They like drama and they like being bullies and they like hoop. I can't. I can't. For me, I gotta have peace in my Middle East. I don't I don't want the drama. So when you have people and they tell you who they are, and this man verbalized who he was. And I was like, oh, as soon as he said he didn't tell you, he didn't tell you all you need to know. Another gentleman, he's like the one who behaved, he's like, well, he lied. No, that man didn't lie. He told y'all exactly who the hell he was. He didn't lie to you. He told us in the very beginning of this meeting who he was. What it is you can't accept that he's not like you. You can't accept he doesn't fit in the context of how you would think a person should be. Maybe he's a dick. And that's who he is. That's between him, the Lord, and anybody who wants to tolerate the madness. But the one thing I can appreciate about you is he lays it on the line so you can choose whether to walk in that door and deal with that or not, or you can choose to do this. Unlike Grumpy lied a lot. He even started believing, I think, some of his own lies. This man told you who he is. Now, whether he understands the full scope of what he is, he told you he was. I'm self-centered, self-willed. It's all about me, and I don't care about anybody else. I don't really want kids, even though we later find out he has children. He don't want them. He don't want to pay child support. He don't want any of that. I got to appreciate you, even if I don't agree with the fact you fathered some kids and you don't want to pay child support on them. I got to appreciate that you honest enough to say, this is who I am. You're a winner because you just told me what I'm going to deal with and what I'm not. Yet, Dutch brothers, y'all. Yet, it's amazing to me. Like I said, it's absolutely astonishing to me that people want to. Y'all forgive me. People want to. What's the word I want to use? Sit in delusion about who folks are and not accept it. I understand sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. If you're dealing with attractions, that's one thing. You need to work on that, especially after a certain age. And you also have to have some self-worth and some self-value. I think I said this in an old video. I'm fat, but don't think that I have low self-esteem. I do not. I know I'm fat. I don't have low self-esteem. My mind is very much set, and I'm very set in my ways on things. And the older I'm getting, the more set I'm becoming. And that's the other thing. Know who you are. No, oh no, I'm not. The people who don't want to admit they older. Girl, baby, you old. No, I'm old. Dude, I'm not 20, I'm not 30 anymore. I'm old. Am I 150? No. But there is a point where we strike a point in life where you know you're older. I can tell I've started to shift. I can tell I'm becoming set in my ways more than ever. I got certain things now that I won't buy because I'm like, I don't like that. It's a set thing. It's something has shifted. But again, I am what I am and I'm not what I'm not. But I also am somebody who knows me. Some people, they don't know themselves. And it's amazing to me because I'm like, what's wrong? And I have to do this. What's wrong with you? It's amazing to me. People who don't, it's like they just function, but they don't know themselves. How do you not know you? And that's a problem. That's a problem. But again, it has to do with self-reflection. And I really believe it has to do with a relation with the Lord. But then there's people in relation with the Lord, supposedly, who don't know themselves either. They don't know who they are. They just exist. And they have no idea. One of the things I'm going to challenge you is get to know who you are. You know, I don't care if you sit down with a piece of paper and you say, who am I? Who's the good, the bad, and the ugly? You need to know all sides of yourself from your perspective. Because other people may see other aspects of you that might be significantly different. But if I took a mirror up to myself, I already know who I am. I know I'm temperamental. I know I'm sarcastic. I know I can be funny. I know I'm very set in my ways now. I know, like, I'm kind of the same way. I don't like people just showing up at my house. I know I have a loner personality. I know I don't like to deal with crazy people. I know I can be crazy if you push the wrong button. Um, I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not. Get to know yourself. And once you do, accept, and let's say this, I'm not trying to stay in the negative space, but accept the truth about yourself. And if you see things that are hugely negative, then work with the Lord and possibly somebody professional to help you with that. Grumpy was highly narcissistic. A narcissistic person, you really probably need to go talk to somebody because there's something going on very deep seated that has got you there. It's a damaging behavior because most narcissists, they're control freaks, they're manipulators. They do have a butthole tendency. They usually lie a lot. And that's why they say he didn't know. He didn't lie. I mean, did he and did he? I mean, it depends on the perspective. Yeah, to me, he didn't lie. He told you exactly who he was. And anytime you deal with a narcissist, you have a summary of who they are. Their thought process, the way they think. And the one plus I can give him, unlike his counterpart Trump, is that he basically has told you, I'm self, it's all about me. Trump may not put it in that perspective, but it is all about him. And they will lie to get what they want. It is part of the narcissistic traits and characteristics. And they're heavy duty manipulators of people. They get off on it. It's funny to them. It's like sex. And especially if it's something for an end game. And some of them just do it like Monty, sometimes just because they freaking could. You have to make a choice. Be who you are. And also be careful of the people that are surrounding you and you getting upset because they're not behaving in the way you want them to. Here's a little example. Common, not a big deal. I had an associate of mine, call her a semi-friend, more so associate. I'd known her for years, and we had split a membership for Costco. Whenever that membership would come up or come around within that 30 days, she almost hound you behind half of the payment of it. I'm like, whoa. And I was like in between a job, and it was like, oh, well, your payment's due. I haven't started working. I told you I'll start working in a couple of weeks. I'll get you. This go round, I told her just remove me because I know who she is. Her ex-husband doing all sorts of shenanigans. And I'm thinking, you laid down with that woman. She even told him, you realize who I am. That's a person who tell you they a cold piece of work. She a cold piece of work. Don't hate her. Don't dislike her. Just understand who I'm dealing with. She is who she is, and she's not what she's not. But also, she sees herself in a certain light. She had this is the one who had the son, and and wanted people to do some committee, and was pissed off because one of the ladies whose husband's dying of cancer. I took him burgers or whatever at the hospital, and I was asking her, why are you talking? But that tells you who she is, because it's about her. It's about her children. And that's okay. Do you? I'm gonna go over here in the corner and leave y'all alone, and leave you in whatever that is. But there's people who draw to that. I'm not one of those. I have friends, Linda, Joe, some other people that I deal with, and there's aspects of their stuff I don't deal with. The family, my little surrogate family, I went out to my places, play nephew and play. They voted for Trump. I don't get in those conversations with them. I don't agree. The black family, okay, not all of them. I don't think the son did, but the daughter and the mom did. And the logic behind it is not a conversation I'm going to get into because it's not logical to me. It doesn't make sense. But that's okay. You do you. What I like about them is they're sweet. Two of them are Christian, and I like playing with the dogs. That's it. And the nephew, they love me just like I'm their blood aunt. Good people, sweet people on every other level. But there's aspects of who they are I don't want to jack with, and there's aspects of who I am they probably don't want to jack with. Except some people you accept where they are, and others you just need to just not be around them. Hey, Wendy, what's up? Welcome. I'm chin wagging. I don't know, some other people in here, but ain't nobody saying anything. I ain't gonna be here too terribly long. I'm just chin wagging about a situation with a meeting. Um, it's getting cold here. You should probably y'all got snow in Colorado already. Get ready, yawn. Get ready, yawn. Hey, Delphi, what's up, baby? I've sat here, and when I yeah, it's cold. It was cold last night. I got the fan going right now, and I'm kind of like hunkered up, but it was kind of cold last night, and I had my fan in my room because I don't like sleeping hot. I'm gonna finish this out. Anybody, if y'all need, y'all go back and play it. I watched as this woman in this meeting, I think, got very pissed off because this gentleman did not reply to her in the way you always have good lessons. I hope you. Thank you, Delphi. I'm happy. I'm happy it's helping you. Or hopefully it says the God is using it to do something. But it just amazes me, and I think some of it is a maturity thing too, Delphi. I pretty much have kind of always known who I was. I will say, as I've gotten older, though, I have, and like I said, I can tell I'm becoming more set in my ways. Just certain things, like even certain products. Like it's funny because, like, I would used to get. Most of us, I don't make spaghetti from spaghetti sauce from start to finish. Like some people they go get the fresh tomatoes. They do the whole. I mean, they make it from start to finish. I don't do that. Now I doctor spaghetti. I doctor spaghetti. So I'll do like some ragu and some prego, but I have found that I like this new spaghetti sauce called Raos, Raos. I love the taste. I'm like, oh, where y'all from? So now I haven't even bought any spaghetti sauce. I'm like, I really don't want no other spaghetti sauce but Raos. I have tons of it right now in store that I can use if I need to and make something. But the route, I know, no, that's what I want to do. My toothpaste, I'm kind of funky about that. I have learned to I become very set in ways on things that I like and things I don't like. But I also realize that has not only translated there, it's also translated in how I interact with people. In my earlier stages, I was tolerating a lot more and I was putting up with drama from with it family. No, no. Something snapped, and it happened in my 40s. Once I kind of realized everything with my biological mother and how foul, and then had to deal with some stuff, dealing with Grumpy, I decided on what I was going to deal with from people. And it has translated even more so as I've gotten older. And I also understand as we get older, there should be a point in your life where drama starts to wane, meaning that young people usually put up with a lot of drama, and a lot of the drama they put up with is just totally nonsensical. It's just like stupid drama. I remember I was at the job I'm currently, well, I'm on vacation from. I was at there and I was in the bathroom. And we're not supposed to have phones on the floors. And so these folks say addicted to their phone, they got to go in the bathroom. So she on the phone with somebody in the household. And I forgot my card and blah. And they went into like this whole stressful, and I could tell whoever they talked to was young. And it was nonsensical. The whole conversation was like the world came to an end because they left a debit card at the house and they couldn't take care of something. And it was it, it was like the world had come to the end. It was so over the top. I cannot. And that's because there are things in a young age that are really just trifling and stupid that you want to make more than what they are. Yesterday we sat down and with the little play family, and we were sitting down and the son was talking about a work situation. Yeah, yeah. Because you're stressing yourself. I'm gonna come around to it, Wendy. Hold on to that. And so he's talking about a situation at his job, and it was an interaction with, he's the only chocolate chip in the building. He an interaction with one of the coworkers, and the coworker, she tripping, dipping, flipping, and skipping. And I said, how you gonna deal with this? Well, the daughter, my play niece, I'm gonna come up there and blah. Why do you need to go up there? Why? Hey, he grown. He grown. I think they both in their 30s. He grown. Secondly, you don't need to go up there. He can handle that. There's nothing there. He hasn't gotten in trouble for it. And it sounds like the girl's crazy anyway, and that's fine. He can handle this. He was asking me about how what I thought, and I'm like something wrong with the chick, but you're also a chocolate chip and you're male in a predominantly Anglo company, and unfortunately, black males are threatening to some people. So this chick may be tripping, dipping, and flipping because she's threatened by you. So be it. Okay. You have to play the pink people role when you deal with them. And how you interact with this particular person, you have to watch, what's it say? Guard your words carefully. Because folks are crazy as hell. And especially, no offense to the pink folks, but pink folks will use stuff out the wind, and it'll be such minute crap in order to try to cause you drama because they're good at twisting. That's what they like to do. And especially with us. I don't know if y'all remember the black guys in the park, and this woman started tripping, dipping, and flipping. And luckily enough, he had his cell phone and filmed all of it. I think she ended up losing her job, but he filmed all of the cray cray with this chick, and she's accusing him of attack. The man walking his dog. Was he walking his dog? Or I can't. She was walking her dog. Somebody's walking the dog. He's just walking in the park, minding his own dang business. But she flipping and jipping because he black. And she's crazy and whatever demons she got on board. Because for you just to pull that out the wind and that man ain't interacting with you, something wrong with you. Kind of the same situation we got in this room. And you could tell this with this meeting, this particular lady, something's not right. I could tell within the first week something wasn't right. And you trying to hit on somebody who's heading your meeting, then they're not responding the way you want, and so now they're an a-hole. Mm-hmm. Because people are going to be who they are. My thing is, especially when people tell you, this dude was so blatant. Stevie Wonder, who's blind, could tell you who this man is. He blatant. He basically laid out who he was. You can choose to jack with that, or you can choose not to. I like this song. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, you can get with that. You can choose what you want to get with. And I'm not talking just relationship. I'm talking about in general dealing with people. There's folks, people just talk to me sometimes. Like when we went to go have dinner, Vivian went to the bathroom. We went to the salad bar. When we came back, Josh was still sitting at the table. I brought back my salad because Vivian and Vicky had to go to the bathroom because Vivian has a disability now. So she's got the little roller cart that she has to push. And she has a major health issue. So I got my salad, went back to the table, and we were sitting there, and this white lady walked up. She's like, "Can I sit with y'all while I'm waiting on my food?" I'm like, we didn't care. I said, "Well, as soon as their mom come back, they're gonna need a chair." But you can tell she had a couple of drinks, and she just sat and talked to us, and just all over the place. Now, is that woman gonna be my best friend? No, but I was cordial. But again, everything she did told me who she was. She had some drinking issues because it was early, and she was already lit because you could smell it. And you could tell how she was behaving. All the Cheerios were in her box, and she was under a little bit of the influence. I saw who she was. I don't go, "Oh, girl, come." No, don't call me. I'm gonna pray for you. And like I told her, I said, "You have a blessed Thanksgiving." Gave me a hug and a kiss on the cheek, like we known each other for 5 years. Gave Joshua a hug and a kiss on the cheek. That baby was drunk as a skunk. When you are dealing with folks, when you are dealing with situations, take them initially face value unless they truly show you something different. Sometimes people will tell you verbally who they are, and sometimes people's actions will tell you who they are. That old saying, "A picture's worth 1,000 words," believe that. And I love Maya Angelou's saying, she's like, if people tell you who they are, believe them. The thing is that some people you want people to verbally tell you who they are. Some people can't tell you that because some people don't even know who they are. You got people my age who have absolutely no idea who they are, but their actions will tell you who they are, whether or not they can admit it. Because like I said, I got friends I am very close to today, and they honestly do not know who they are. Zero. They know a little bit of who they are, but they really don't know who they are. I'm sitting there going, They even with other family members, they'll walk in this. So like one of my buddies, his nephew got a full ride scholarship to NAU. Okay, full ride. Nephew and little girlfriend, both of them 4-year ride. Not only did he 4-year ride, he got a huge financial scholarship. I mean, huge. That financial scholarship, he would have got through college for free. He could have my friend gave him a car and living up at NAU, and I don't even think he lasted the first semester. And when he dropped out, my friend told me so and so dropped out. Oh, okay, I believe it. You're not shocked? No, not whatsoever. I am, right, because you're in delusion. This particular group of your family has showed you who they are. And it runs in your family, bro. I'm not shocked. This is what y'all do. But it's like blinders. And it's amazing to me because I sit back and how could you think anything different? How could you, everything that runs in that family, this division of your family, and it's in his family, the overall family too, but it's really bad in this particular division. Everything that runs in that group is ratchet like this. So they don't appreciate nothing. So how would you be shocked that this kid didn't last a semester and he dropped out, him and his little girlfriend, and come back here? How are you? I'm discombobulated. Please clarify this for me. Why is this a shock? Because some people, they want to see what they want to see. Me, not so much. And that may be a cynical way of looking. And I have to give Grumpy some wisdom because Grumpy used to say, I expect man to be exactly what the Bible says he is, wicked, and do all this stuff. And Monty had very much a personality that was kind of buttholish. So his expectations of people were very low. And I hate to say, when you go through certain things in life, it happens. And the more you look at it through real glasses, it's less disappointment you have. I'm not disappointed. I'm not shocked, but I'm also sometimes the thing is that people put themselves in position where they expect a lot more, and really what it is, you want somebody to be something they're not, and they're not capable of doing. That would be like me expecting Monty to be a dad. Monty did had no, he had zero clue on how to be a dad or be a grandfather. I was listening to, and I don't know if y'all know that he's a hip hop guy, Lecrae. You guys having a chance, and I'm seeing this a lot now with people. I don't know if this is just that season, but he kind of did a thing similar to Kirk Franklin. But he's talking, and he talks about some of the areas of his life where he was. I think he said he had 8 of the childhood traumas. I think there's 9 or 10 of them, and he had 8 or something like that. But he talked about things from his childhood, and I didn't know he was a molest victim too. But he talked about that. He talked about an absentee father. He talked about meeting his father and some of the things. And it's a very, I had to stop because I need to watch a little bit more of it. But it's very good. And again, I listened to him, and it's funny because he has a Christian background, but he made statements that when I sat and laughed, because I'm like, what do you mean you don't understand? And it's hard for us to wrap our head around it because oftentimes we're in a physical world seeing physical things, not understanding that what we have behind the scenes is spiritual. Apostle Paul says, I think it was in Ephesians, the fight that we have is not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. Then he talks about putting on the armor of God to stand in a defense mode for those things that are coming at us in life. And the problem is that because we're in the flesh world, most of us see only the flesh and don't understand there are spiritual entities behind the scenes orchestrating things, quite often demonic. I'm not saying God's not doing stuff too, he is, but there is in the world realm, especially on this level, there's a lot of spiritual orchestration going on, and especially from a demonic realm. So oftentimes, especially with parents, what God has just shown me, it was just me, is that the biggest place where you can get your hooks into somebody is if you do it while they're a child. Because whatever happens in childhood will transition up into adulthood. And it will have impacts that aren't going to be good. And later, here you are 30, 40, 50 years old, and you're like, you're struggling with you. My friend, he sees his mom and his dad as these just great people. And I met his mother, and who I met, she was highly, she's dead now, highly manipulative lady. She was a conniving, manipulative, and some mothers become that. They learn how to maneuver their children through manipulation, which is demonic. It's ways to play people. And then that translates over to those children. Grumpy saw his mama stab his dad in the leg. Grumpy was abandoned by my grandmother at a certain point when he was a young boy. Thank you. I have a delivery. All right, thank you very much. I had a delivery of who was it? K Swiss had tennis shoes. Black. It was a deal, 40% off. So I bought 2 pairs because I needed tennis shoes, and they just delivered them. So oftentimes we have people who they sit in a delusion, and they do it because reality, I think, is too hard. It's too hard to accept the fact my nephew's a dick. It's too hard to say my father's a jerk. It's too hard to say my mom is crazy. It's too hard to deal with that because that's not what you want them to be. Because innately, we want parents who are parents. We want siblings who are siblings. We want friends who are friends. And we want them not to be hardcore buttholes, but some of them are. And especially if they're not saved. And even if they are saved, they may still have residual stuff from the damages from their childhood. That's why now my mother's not anybody I want to hang with, but I can forgive her because she's damaged from the stuff that happened to her. And it's like Linda and I were talking, and we were talking, and she's talking about wimpy women. You know, weak. What happened? My mom couldn't stand a woman because this woman was weak because the man was talking to her a certain way. I said, stop, Linda, stop. Because Linda's looking at the flesh situation and what she grew up with. I said, stop. First of all, you're calling a woman weak that you don't know if that woman's weak or not. What she may be is broken. Okay? We're just using a general scenario of a woman who a man could talk to and browbeat you or physically beat you. Oh, that's a weak woman. That doesn't necessarily mean she's weak. It may mean she's broken. And what you're seeing as weak is her in her brokenness. This is how women get into situations where they're in abusive relationships. And when you know them before, I don't even know who this person is. I saved a hole is the worst. Hold on. Okay, clarify the first part. That doesn't make sense. I saved a hole is sometimes the worst because they believe the harm they cause. Are you saying that I'm thinking you're meaning like an abusive person who's a butthole? Is that what you mean? You're probably an a-hole. Well, yes, but the problem is it's allowed. And the problem is not what they do. The problem is what the person allows. So let me say this. The victimizer, one who is a saved butthole. A saved butthole. Are you saying that they claim to be saved, but they're a butthole? I don't know if that's what you're saying. Clarify that for me, Delphi. Let me kind of say this, and I'm gonna say this. Use Grumpy. So Grumpy was a butthole. Honestly, he was. If this is what you're using, and Grumpy told me that there was a point in his life where he practiced being an a-hole. Okay. So Grumpy told me he practiced being an a-hole. Now, at this point, Grumpy got saved at age 45, okay? I am 25, so there's a 20-year difference probably between me and Grumpy. So I believe he was around 45, I'm 25 when he reached out, and then later as we got to know each other. Yes, that's what I mean, people who are saved but are nasty. I got you, Delphi. Give me a minute, I got you, okay? Grumpy, what we have to, so let me use him for an example, because he's a great example. I probably could be a great example too, but really he's a good example. I believe my biological father was saved. And it was hard for me to believe that until I talked to the guys from the railroad, okay? His buddy Nick had said to me, something happened with Monty. This was about the time he reached out to me. He said, we could tell he had changed, okay? Remember, we're in a flesh and blood world. We're not in a transformed body. We're impacted by sin. Come on. Sin does not make us nice. It makes us nasty. And let me say it again. Sin does not make us nice. It makes us nasty. And just because we become saved, everything just doesn't go away. Okay? This is where the delusion to me that the church sometimes gives off, when you got people, when they go into a church and they show you this perfect picture of what you think, oh, the pastor and his wife are great. I went to a church and I'm going to segue for a second. I actually appreciated the pastor saying something one time, and I still remember it. His wife has passed on. And we were at this church, and he said, yeah, we come up in here and y'all think everything is great. He said, we just had a fight in the parking lot last Sunday, and we came in here smiling like everything is great. We're human. We're people. And we sin. Every day. Every day. Sin is an inevitable part of this flesh suit. It stems down really from Satan to man, and then just goes off to the offspring of man, which is Adam and Eve, to all of us. It doesn't go away. We can maybe do better than what we were yesterday, but that sin will still permeate us. That demonic foothold can still be a part of us. And we can have multiple generational curses, no matter how saved we are, that still are a part of your life. I believe the obesity part is part of mine. And I have other areas. The obesity part is a huge part of mine. It's a foothold. My mother was obese, and Monty had some obesity issues on his side, not necessarily him, but on his mother's side. We have some big people on his mama's side. So here, this is a in there, and this is sinful. We all have it. I have a whole nother side of my person. As much as I love Jesus, you hit me the wrong way, you're gonna get another Shannon. You're gonna get the other Shannon. Again, God's brought me a long way, but there's still work, and that work is gonna be all the way to the casket. So the problem that you have is that people may change in certain things, but they still got a long haul. And Grumpy had heavy duty. Like I said, after I met the extended family, I have mercy for that brother. I honestly have mercy for him, because what I saw, I deal with some of it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is where knowing who you are is important, because I can identify the generational curses. I got family members of mine, they got good jobs, they're educated, they got family, they're married, and they don't think they've been affected by how we grew up. Oh yeah, you're affected. you are affected, bruh. You are the other half siblings from my father. All of us are affected. I can see the generational curses down to great nephews in my father's side. Facts. We all are impacted. None of us are perfect. That sin is going to go with us to the casket or to the rapture. It's not to the transformed body that it gets dissipated. What makes us sinless in the eyes of God is that he sees the blood of Jesus because we've accepted him. That's it. There may be transformative things that will happen along our journey. Here's another example, and this is biblical. Go look up the Apostle Paul, and you'll have to put it, I'm going to put it in my own verbiage. I'm not going to pull this Bible behind me. But it says, the things that I ought to do, I don't. And the things I do that I'm not supposed to do, I do. So the things I'm not supposed to do, I'm doing them. And the things that I should be doing, I don't. Paul, if you do not know, wrote the majority of the New Testament. The brother is genius. I have to read his stuff and go back and marinate, because his mind was so deep. But yet, he was so in sync with who he was and who he was in relationship this way. He was honest about it. Paul had come a long way from killing Christians to now being a Christian, to now training Christians, and could tell you, guess what? Man, I'm jacked. I'm jacked. No matter what, I'm jacked. I'm not perfect. He had something going on with a particular demon. So they called it an angel of Satan sent to buffet him. He called it his thorn in the flesh. Okay, I don't know what the demon was doing. People will tell you all kinds of stories. The Bible never clearly tells you what this demon was doing. And he was praying to God, hey, God, I need you to take this thorn out my flesh. So it's something to deal with the flesh suit, which usually has to do with our sin. And there was something that was a particular stronghold for Paul. And it was nagging Paul. And Paul said, can you take this thorn out my flesh? His response back, oh, Paul bad, girl. Yeah, he's bad. The brother was, Paul is, he give you goosebumps. When you read his stuff, you be like, this brother right here. Let me go back and read that. He's so genius because he makes you step back and look at yourself. But the one thing I will tell you, go look at Paul himself. Granted, he's doing corrections to the church, but go look at him talk about his own stuff. And if you can go look at that, you're going to sit back and say to yourself, okay, God, I got issues, but I'm in good company. And I'm not saying to stay in those issues. Work on me where you can. Am I different from who I was before? Oh, absolutely. Joe, Linda will tell me, I'm trying to get to where you at. I'm trying to get to where you at. Joe will now say, he never say Jesus. Now he got to where he say JC. He used to say, something is working on your behalf. Now he'll go, JC is really working things out for you. Because you can see God's hand. Like I said, from the time I got back here, there was something when I was leaving Texarkana, there was something that God just said he brought to the surface more. I've always been a believer, but I wasn't always walking the route. And I wasn't because I was at times angry with God because of the things I was being allowed to go through, from the molest, the mama stuff, the jacked up Monty stuff, life in general, job stuff. And I got angry with God because oftentimes we forget there's an enemy because we don't talk about the enemy that much. Matter of fact, churches don't even mention them anymore. Matter of fact, they blame sin on you. And sin originated in the angelic world with Satan. Only way it got to us is the fact that Eve did not listen and fell for the okie doke. And then Adam partook, and it just translated through the line of man. Jesus has now made it so we've got the redemption. We just got to accept him. If we accept him, we're cool. I got a gnat. Y'all have got most of them, but it's like I can't win sometimes with these little a-holes. I'm going to call them a-holes. Asinine to the holes. They horrible. And I get them, and then I open the door, and they come in. I don't know. They're buttholes. God, when you're dealing with understanding who we are, which is why I kind of named this, I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not, we do have to work in conjunction with him. I don't know if it's you, Delphi, or somebody else last week when I said about discernment, a week before. Discernment to me doesn't always mean looking at other people. Sometimes it can be introspective and looking at ourselves. Back when I was in my 30s, before I actually went into trucking, and when I was dealing with coming into that struggle between ministry and I didn't want it, I did want it, and I did answer the call, and I did it for a while, and I fell away from it. Back when I came into ministry, one of the things that I asked was, God, show me me. That's a hard medicine. I'm going to read that in a minute, Wendy. That's a hard medicine because when you ask God to show you, you better be ready for what he's about to show you. And that journey, what I've realized now, that started in my 30s. I'm 55. The journey of what I saw, it punched me in my chest. Initially, I knew some of the stuff I didn't understand everything with my mother. I knew some of the stuff from my father's people, but I didn't even understand it there. The context of the generational curses that were so steep within my family, I didn't understand. And there's people right now, they don't want to talk about it. Matter of fact, I'm a bad person because I deal with generational curse stuff. I talk about it. I'm negative. I'm a lot of things that people don't like. That's what I said. I am what I am and I'm not what I'm not. I'm a person that don't want to walk around here in delusion. That's why I look in the mirror and I know I'm fat. You're not going to see me in no dang spandex. I be seeing these little fat girls walking around like, don't you know you fat? You too fat to be. I don't like seeing the skinny chicks in the little exercise pants all the damn time either. But if you fat, you, baby, why? There's stuff you shouldn't be wearing. I do. But I'm a hard cup of tea to swallow. But at the same time, I'm very honest with myself. And I'm going to take you guys somebody, because I always had a question. So some of y'all will know of King David. David was king of Israel. Okay, David was, the Bible, God says he was a man after his own heart. And I always like, how in the heck God was David? I need to understand, because David was a jerk. David done stole a man's wife. He done had an affair. He done sent the man to his death to hide his fact. He done impregnated this man's wife. David was foul. I was like, this brother is just straight up foul. He's a murderer. He's an adulterer. He done did some stuff. When the prophet would come to confront David about his stuff, David would confess. And we go read the Psalms. As you read through all the Psalms, David was probably one of the most honest with God people. And then I understood. I understood why. I understood why the Bible says he was a man after God's own heart. Because in reality, I would rather somebody be honest with me than to bullcrap me. And in honesty, what can you hide from God? In the garden, Adam and Eve tried to hide behind fig leaves. Fig leaves! Once they realized they was naked, they were exposed and thought they could hide from God. So what's wrong with you? He's God. He spoke you in creating. He can see everything. Okay? So tell me, something wrong with y'all thinking. What y'all think y'all can hide from whatever that deity on that level? You want to hide from him. Good luck with that. Then they played the blame game. Well, she told me to do this, and it's what you gave me. And then she blamed the enemy, Satan. Well, the serpent did. Nobody took ownership for their crap. We can say these are where these things stem from, but then we have to take the ownership for what's our part in it once we know it ain't right. Once we know we messed up. We got to take some ownership. I can sit and say, well, yeah, I inherited this from Grumpy. I inherited this from my mother, Frances. I inherited these things. But there's points where I have to start dealing with them. And some of them are strongholds. So that's where you got to beseech God to work with you. David did that. When you read them Psalms, that's David. He beseeching God for stuff. Paul was a killer of Christians. Always go back and look at certain things. Where did Paul spend the majority of his time? Ministry. He spent it in prison. I personally wonder if that was kind of a way of him, in God's way, having him pay what he owed for his part before he became saved. Not saying God did not forgive him, but it was kind of a debt thing. We still, even though God forgives and he washes and we still got to go through some of it. Paying dues, yes. We still have to go through some of it. And some of us wanted to wash away and we want the easy ride out. It wasn't easy. Paul did the majority of his ministry from a prison cell. Yeah, Saul was a hot mess, Delphi. King Saul was a mess. King Saul started going a very different route. And that wasn't who, but I understanding, and I got to go back and research it. That's not who he really wanted in that position anyway. He gave the people what the people wanted. And it's okay because that's the other thing. It's lessons. This life we live is full of lessons. It just is whether we choose to get the lessons or not. And that's why when I see these situations when people like Wendy and me were talking, we can sit and want things our way, but it's not about our way. God, what is best? And sometimes one of the best things is I don't believe God wants you in a lot of turmoil and trauma and drama. And so avoid it. Like the play, long handle spoon. One of the things I had distanced myself from Grumpy. We talk on the phone and I could talk to him. But in reality, when I realized Grumpy's view was all about Grumpy, he did help his children to some extenses, but it was what I call ghetto help, only on his terms. And that's, do you, boo-boo, do you. Lecrae was just talking about his dad, who he met, and he's like, hey, you weren't in my life, and and I want to get to know you. Here your son is a massively well-known Christian hip-hop artist. And this man is so out of his flipping mind. He done been homeless, on drugs. He found a whole bunch of stuff about his daddy. And his daddy had no emotional availability for Lecrae. And Lecrae is like, he's trying to wrap his head around it. And I'm like, why? You can't make sense of crazy. Your father's not all there. And there's most likely, again, as Christians, we still are still looking at the flesh and not understanding what Paul said. I just did a paper on this. We're talking about original sin. And they putting it man. We had another guy, we read some books and journals regarding this. And one man, he says sin originated in the angelic realm. We got to start there. We trying to start as if sin started right here. Sin translated down to us. But it started in the angelic realm with Satan. We need to understand that root. Once we understand that root, we begin to understand some of our stuff. Again, I got to get to know me. So, Lord, show me me. Who did God take me back to? He took me to looking at my parents. And once he unveiled that thing, I knew that what I inherited. I then started understanding things about myself. Once I met Monty, I knew who he was, but I didn't interact with him. Once I met him, oh my God, curtains came open. I'm like, okay. Me and Monty had some heavy duty similarities. There was a very weird conversation when we met that we talked about vengeance and how we would get our enemies back. And both our conversations on both ends was very demented. That told me how deep and entrenched and demonic my connections are tied to that line. Don't get me wrong, my mother's line has bitterness, they have jealousy, obesity, a whole bunch of stuff. Very nasty. We could tongue that could cut you like a razor. Her great grandmother was an a-hole like that. God forgive me, it's gonna be point blank, period. Her great grandmother, her grandmother, my great grandmother, was malicious. I mean evil malicious. That woman's tongue, she said what she wanted, and she was just evil, wicked, mean. All in her line. All of them. Translates down to me. You cut me the wrong part way, you'll get somebody you'll never want to meet. And Lord God, don't let me be unhinged. Ever. Ever. I realize the level of crazy I can go. I realize where I come from. Knowing you is good because knowing you stops. And especially if God is on your side, that's why that saying we have in the black community, but God. But God. But God. Hold on, let me go back. And Delphi, I don't know why you deleted that message. That message was good. Yes, that's when. But a lot of times in churches, and church doesn't really talk about sin anymore anyway. Most churches don't. But if you start studying on sin, they'll go back to original sin, man. Man is not original sin. Original sin goes with Satan. That's my view. And we're doing it right now. And it was funny because the major text that we're using, textbook, it really dealt with the sin, original sin, man. Really, the origin of sin is Satan. And then I like to say it was an inherited thing, meaning it translated through it translated down to us. Say angels are created beings, we're created beings. So it translated down to us from Satan. And if you go back and research Satan as a whole, who he is and his sin part, girl, it's I just did that a couple months back. And I was doing it for one of my Bible studies. And I had never researched the enemy. It was a very eye-opening to research him and then to understand because Satan is a massive narcissist. Makes sense. Most of us, all of us, we want to be important. We want to be seen. We want to be noticed. We want people if we could be rich, wealthy, famous, in charge of something, there's this innate thing behind the scenes in all of us that want that. That comes from Satan. Straight up, point blank, period. It comes from the enemy. Not a doubt in my mind. It's all demonic. It comes straight from him. So knowing who you are is critical and knowing who you are not is critical because that also impacts some other things. What will you allow in your life? That's why when Linda was saying, oh, the woman is broken because broken people don't know who they are. And until you start wanting to heal, that the healing process means I got to look in the mirror and heal. A broken person, all you're doing is taking a band-aid and putting it over the break, over the cut, over the wound, and it's going to get gangrene. It's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. Whereas a person who wants to be healed and wants to be whole, you have to come face to face with your stuff. And you're going to unpack and deal with it as you can. Lecrae said, there was parts where he showed us this major hip hop and he was doing all sorts of madness. Drinking, partying. And his wife was sticking behind him because she's a Christian. I give her to her. She better than probably me. And maybe that's what the Lord put on her heart. And she basically said, I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to do this. Swade Houston, welcome to the channel. Hold on. Turn the tone of training hustlers. Yours are harrowing. Great information. I took away some. Oh, P. Wimpy Ladfoot, bruh. Oh my God. Yeah, that brother right there. Look, that's one of them trainees you won't never forget is P. Wimpy Ladfoot. My Lord. I don't even train drivers no more. Hallelujah. Bruh. I'm just saying. And I'm just going to segue here for you. If you decide to be, I think training a driver can be absolutely fun. I think it can be rewarding. A friend of mine had to kick her husband off my truck. I was training him, and he had capability. He's just crazy. He's crazy. He's a dick. He's got some issues though, and I again, you got to know yourself. But he's actually was a very good driver. He just wouldn't listen. And so if you have drivers who won't listen or who are dangerous, get them off your truck. Don't even and follow your gut. If your gut, don't look at the money, because if you look at the money, you're going to be producing people who are dangerous and not good drivers. Because there are people I know who got through being drivers. I'm like, ooh, ooh. And it was just about money. It was really just about the money. Yeah, I didn't have, and then the last trainee I had was the felon, the felon who was kind of trying to threaten me and intimidate me. We got him off that truck. He didn't even know he was getting off truck. Oh yeah, and see, I'm sarcastic too. So yeah, especially when I'm dealing with stuff that irritates me, that's when my sarcasm, and that's when I'm inherited things that inherited too. So that's when my sarcastic side comes to the table. Especially I'm dealing with stuff that pisses me off and irritates me. She comes up off the table. But yeah, and pretty much wrapping this up on the I am what I am, and I'm not what I'm not. Know who you are, and it's a hard cup of tea to get to that point in your life. But also make sure God is in the details, because sometimes if God is not in the details, it's not a good thing. Hey, Kathy, what's up, baby? Happy after Thanksgiving Day. I hope y'all all had a good Thanksgiving Day. Um, make sure God is in the details, and I'm going to say that, and understanding His role in things. I think that was another area of young ignorance. A lot of times we blame Him for the bad in our life, and if we don't understand the spiritual realm, that there's Satan and there's God, we tend to blame God. Oh, well, why, God, did you allow? He's God, and this is part of the journey of us getting to who we are. If you remember the book of Job and how what Job went through, it was like, why, God, did you do this? And a lot of people are like, well, God volunteered Job. I'm going to say something to you. God knows the ends from the beginning. So already probably know, I have a feeling Satan already had his eye on Job, and God is like, okay, I'm going to beat you to the punch. But God also, it says something that he was confident enough in who Job was, that Job would stand as long as he did, being the man of faith that Job was. But it also gave God us a history to see about how horrible Satan is and how sick and twisted he is, that he would do the things he did to Job. It says a lot. And again, how we view things is huge, even ourselves. This is why it's good to know you. Grumpy started believing his lies. And then later, as he got caught in his lies, he would tell the truth. Narcissist, self-centered, self-willed, self-focused people, it's all about them. And even good or bad, they will do things in order to make it about them. And that's okay, because it's your journey, and it's going to ultimately impact you, and how you end up is going to be on you. What I walked into when Monty died was sad. He had 2 sons 1 hour out from him. 2 sons an hour outside the city from him. A suburb city of Lubbock, 1 hour away. But because he was such a foul parent, a foul father, a horrible dad, he died alone with pissy and poopy diapers all around his apartment. He died in a horrible way because he could not get out of his own way. Do I say, oh, that's what he deserved? No, no. I'm sad for anybody. I don't want to go like that. But again, I don't think he knew who he fully was. And he knew some of who he was. I used to practice being an a-hole and laughed. He thought it was funny. Something's not right there. There were some deep-seated traumas that got him to that. Narcissists just don't wake up being narcissists. There are things that have transpired to make them the way they are. Believe that. And a lot of them have very low self-esteem. Anybody who's trying to puff themselves up and build themselves up like that, that's a low self-esteem person. It tells me all I need. Okay. Okay. You got some esteem issues. And that's okay. It's your journey. What I pray is that you wake up in your journey. But if you don't, I hope you got it right. I hope you get it right. There was a major minister who just passed, and I enjoyed his early part of his ministry. Now, he went a whole nother theological way, and I don't agree with it. His name was Carlton Pearson. Carlton, in the early days, boy, was bad. He bad, came out of Oral Roberts University. Carlton was bad. Carlton went a totally different way. When I found out he passed, because his ministry was a ministry that touched me, I shed some tears. I said, Lord, I pray he might have got it right before he closed his eyes in death. I don't think what he was preaching at the end was correct, but I prayed that maybe, because he knew he was dying, maybe he got it right in death. I pray he did. I pray he did. At the end, his philosophies went a whole nother route from what he originally started preaching, which I didn't agree with. But again, I hope he got it right at the end. Because, he was given the time to know he was not going to survive. He had a really bad cancer. But the early part of his ministry was absolutely astonishing. Great voice, excellent minister, preacher back in the day. And then he went to people wasn't going to hell. I'm like, oh, pump the brakes, baby boy. That ain't matching the word of God. And, it was part of his journey. So prayerfully, he got it right. But I have some people like, oh, well, that's not the way to be. Because we all got something. We all got something. Let me go back. Some of y'all said some stuff. Swade, by the way, welcome to the channel. Delphi, I'm happy you enjoyed the P. Wimpy video. Yeah, Wendy, you already know. Wendy's husband's a driver, so she already know when you train drivers, it's special. Right, because God, he's omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, everywhere, all-knowing, and all-powerful. So how would he not know that Job wasn't going to make it? He knew. Really it was Satan just trying to be Satan. Satan, that baby right there. Guys, if you ever have a chance, I did a study on him. Just you can go to Google and look for scriptures about, you want to put in Satan, serpent. Oh, what is he? Satan, serpent. What's the name? Lucifer. That was his name. And then try to go research all the scriptures. Not a lot on him biblically, but what is there? That baby right there. That baby right there is cray as a box of rocks. Whoa. Highest rank. He was a highest ranking angel. They say he was beautiful, gorgeous. And he was caught up in his looks, self-centered. He wanted to be God. I want my throne to be. What's wrong with you? He created you, gave you a highfalutin position, and you tripping? What's wrong with you? But What was wrong with Adam and Eve? He gave you a planet. He gave you dominion. My understanding, this is the thought process. Everything that Jesus could do, Adam could do. Adam could have spoke to the animals. Adam could speak to the wind. That's everything he did. He gave him dominion of the planet. So if he gave him dominion of the planet, he could speak to the animals. Adam named all the flipping animals. And here come Eve. Girlfriend, eat from whatever you want. You got a paradise. Walk around here butt naked and eat whatever the heck you want to. And take care of the planet. And I'll come hang out with you and talk to you and fellowship with you on a regular basis. But no. Here comes Satan. And you fell for the okie doke. But again, the question is, what would we have done in their shoes? What would we have done in their shoes? Maybe we would have fallen for the okie doke as well. I wasn't put in that position, so I can presume. That's why, right now, I say That's why I don't call no woman. Oh, she was a weak. I can't call that woman that. I don't know where she's been. I don't know her childhood. I don't know her journey. I don't know her traumas. What I can say is she's in a relationship right now. She has no self-value, no self-worth, and whoever the dude or woman or whatever she's with right now, she may not feel like she's worth anything. That doesn't necessarily mean weak in the sense of stupid or weak. It means broken. And some of us can be so, I'll be honest, and as I told a friend of mine, you know, when my mom kicked me out at 15, I was a wet napkin. I was so done mentally and emotionally and physically. That woman I was broken. I was mentally, because if I told y'all what was going on in my head, God got me out of there in time, because I probably would have been in handcuffs in conjunction with her. I used to think about really bad stuff to do to her because she was that evil. I was a napkin who was wet. Am I a weak person? Not whatsoever. If in the grand schemes of man, I was at snap, crackle, pop moment. I have a friend of mine who she ended up going to school to become a teacher, and she was working for the juvie system out here. 2 young girls were in a very abusive home. One of the girls killed her parents, and they had to lock her up, and the sister went into the foster system. Now, the girl got locked up on mental because she broke, because the abuses in the home were so bad. I get it. I get that. That's why people need to be careful when you're assessing someone as weak or broken. Brokenness can go in a lot of directions. The brokenness of abuse can be where that person doesn't have the strength to stand up to the abusive man in her household. She's a wet napkin, or he's a wet napkin. There are men who get abused too. There's men that the wife will talk to them. My grandfather, I don't know that he was a wet napkin, but his mother-in-law was my biological mother's grandmother. She's a evil witch. Whatever the demons were on board, she talked about my biological grandfather like he was a dog. She called him stupid and dumb. He had a 3rd grade education. He came from a sharecropping family. But in the long haul, that man bought property with the little knowledge he had and the little education, and was doing financially better than what I'm doing today. That's that's all we can do, is we got to gradually walk through our stuff. And I'm a huge proponent that put God on your side, show me, and help me. And like Paul said, the things I don't even know all the areas, Paul. Imagine spending your whole time in prison. Imagine what that experience is like. And then imagine the heaviness of being ostracized because you're believing something that is not supposed to be believed. You're not worshiping the gods of that time. You're not following along what the Orthodox Jewish religion was that you were a part of anymore. Imagine. I'm just saying, imagine. That's a whole nother cup of tea. It's a whole nother cup of tea. So I'm going to read y'all comments because we are 84 minutes, which is long. Okay, so we covered most of that. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to get my butt off here because I do need to get my laundry ready. It's probably about, what time is it? Let's see if I can see what time it is. It's about 2 o'clock. What time is it? Home, what time is it? Let's see if this thing is telling me. It's probably about 2 o'clock. Yep, it's 2:43, almost 3 o'clock. So I need to get my laundry ready and go over here because ain't nobody at the laundromat, and I don't want to be there tomorrow with them bad behind kids. Plus, tomorrow, I got to get up extra early. Y'all, root for me. They've got an Apple, what's that one? The M1? Apple, not the Pro. It's the other one. It's the other one. It's over here at this, on the Black Friday deal. And at 8 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to try to get it because I have a credit card with the company. So it'll cost me just to pay it over time. And I've been wanting it. So I'm going to see because I'm going to go in person because the last time they shipped one and it had issues. So I'm going in person. And because I think that was refurbished. Because one of the people, I never really shopped at this place. I know nothing about. I knew of them, but I ain't never really bought anything from them. And I think they only here, and I think they might have a location in California somewhere. They're not a huge, it's a Latino type store. And then I'm going to go tomorrow. And then I'm probably going Sunday too, because they got 2 laptops. They got the Apple I want, but they also have an Asus. It's a gaming laptop, and it's not so much for the gaming part, but gaming laptops are usually built with a lot of good products in them. And I'm a big Asus fan, at least back in the day. They were a great laptop. So both of them have a really good price point on them. One of them is almost $300-400 cheaper. And the Apple laptop is about 100. Regularly, it's around $800-900. They got it for $699. So I'm going to go for that, and I'm going for the gaming laptop. Tomorrow's a Apple laptop, so I got to be there first thing in the morning. So I'm going to be up early, heading over because they're on the west side. When I'm central, it's about a 30-minute drive from me. So I'm going to head over there, try to be in the parking lot about 7, and because they open at 8. So I'm going to get up probably about 5 something, head out of here about 6:30. Be over in the parking lot. Might go to Waffle House because Waffle House is over there, and I like Waffle House. So if it's early enough, maybe get me Waffle House and then sit there and see what's going on with that situation, and see if I can get it or not. If I can, great. That'll meet something I wanted to get. Have not upgraded the phone. I'm trying to decide. I don't want payments. This phone I paid for an Apple. Oh, let me just I don't know how many of y'all got iPhones and just had to do that Apple 17 update. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Apple did so many doggone updates. Stuff ain't working. Linda was talking to me. She said, girl, they done moved the buttons around. I actually hung up on you. I said, I told she don't remember stuff. Sometimes I be talking to her, I don't know what she doing. I said, Linda, I told you that I was sitting up here trying to refigure out the Apple because they just did the 17 update. Shannon Moose, I said, I told you, you don't be listening to me. Did you? You don't be listening. Apple, Apple, Apple. I like your product, but I need you to leave some shiznit alone. Leave the shiz alone. Okay? Leave it alone. They done move so such like we had, look, you have your little emoji of yourself and little these ninjas right here. They done moved it. I gotta scroll. They made it hard. I'm like, why am I scrolling to get to this? I was just clicking, it was there, and now y'all got me doing a whole bunch of extra. Leave it alone. And I realized somebody getting paid and they needed something to do. So they gave them something to do, and now it's madness. It's just straight madness. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing a refurb because I really want the 14. I would do the 13 or the 14, but I want the 14. I want the Pro Max, and I want 500 or more, 512 or higher gigabytes. 512 is really good for me because this phone right here, I'm probably half. I use about half of it, but I like space because I am music, I am videos, I'm all of that. So, and then I do these videos, and sometimes I'll record stuff, and I'm going to be, now that things are changing, we'll be talking about the news. Some of y'all have figured it out, but we'll be talking about what led up to everything and what I'm doing now. I'm going to be work from home more. Next week, I'm going to be in the office for a week, but I'll give the full information probably like after the third. So after the third. So probably after the third or fourth, I'll give somewhere in the middle of the week or maybe that following weekend. I'll give y'all a breakdown and go over everything. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get my butt off of here. I hope y'all are blessed. I don't know if I'm gonna be on this weekend. I might, because this is a 4-day weekend for me. I'm trying to work on some stuff here in this house because it need to be worked on. Anyway, peace, joy, happiness. Oh, and I got the final of this class this week, so we'll see. I might be on tomorrow or Sunday. If I am, just watch for the live announcement. Peace, y'all.